Court will come to order. It is Monday, July the 24th, 2023. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and the Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session. If you would, please rise for the prayer and pledge, which will be led by Commissioner Harris.
Please bow your head. Lord, we invite you to preside over this Commissioners Court. Even if we have different opinions, give us unity of spirit. Help us to listen politely as others share their points of view. Help us to work as a unified team in combining ideals for a great outcome. Help us to work as a whole rather than as individuals trying to promote their own agendas. Let us work together on our shared mission. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remind everyone to please turn your telephone off, your cell phone, or at least the back one. And the first item we have on the agenda is our public input. We have one person who's asked to speak to the court. If anyone would like to speak to the court, fill out the form provided to the county clerk. She'll pass it up to me, and you'll be called. And we ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. So, the first request I have is from Paul Zola.
Would it be possible to put down that display so I can make eye contact with all of the commissioners while I'm talking?
There you go.
Thank you, I appreciate that. All set?
Yes.
I'm on the clock. Good morning. My name is Paul Zolan. I am the county chair for the Republican Party for Kerr County. I was elected to this position in 2022. Prior to that, I served as the county vice chair for 4 years. Initially, I served as a precinct chair and election judge for 6 years. For the last 5 years, I have recruited, trained, and assigned all of the Republican election workers in Kerr County. I know Kerr County elections. I am here to express opposition to hand counting paper ballots. Recently, I heard that the CEC, the County Executive Committee of the Republican Party, may choose the method of counting ballots. I contacted the Secretary of State Legal Department to confirm who has authority to set election procedures. Here is their response. The authority responsible for adopting a voting system for a given election under Election Code 123.001 determines the voting system that will be used in that election and the manner in which that equipment will be used. This would include the determination about whether to conduct the election using hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots with the voting machine being used only as accessibility purposes. For a general election held by the county Commissioners Court is the authority responsible for adopting a voting system under Election Code 123.001. For a primary joint election, which we have, the county election officer determines the voting system that will be used for the joint primary under Election Code 172.126F. Those entities or individuals would be responsible for determining whether a hand count would be conducted for each respective type of election. If hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots are adopted as the primary method of voting for a given type of election, then you are still required under state and federal law to provide at least one accessible voting machine for each early voting location and each election day polling location. In other words, you can have hand-counted, hand-marked paper ballots as your primary method of voting, but you must still have at least one accessible voting machine at each polling location during the early voting and election day. Thank you for your time.
3 minutes, okay? Next is Alicia Bell.
Alicia Bell, I'm in Precinct 1, and I stand for the paper ballots, hand counting paper ballots. I attended another town hall event in Fredericksburg last night. I listened to Tina Peters, Mark Cook, and Dr. Walter Doherty. I don't know how to explain it, but anybody who has not heard all the evidence, you have no idea why you're against it. You have to hear the evidence. And if you choose not to hear the evidence, you can't be ignorant of what's going on. You're actually choosing to be, you're choosing to be ignorant of what's going on. Anybody who wants good things for this country needs to know that we need to have the true count of what the people wanted. It cannot be controlled by people who pay off the people who threaten them. All around the country, people are being threatened and they're being paid off for the New World Order. Who wants this country? Do you want this country to stay free? If you want this country to stay free, you can't cooperate with the New World Order, because that's what's happening. The people who are cooperating with these electronic voting, the people who are cheating, this is all around the country. And anybody who thinks there's not cheating going on in every single county in this country, you're not thinking straight. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to offer public input? Well, let's move on to commissioner comments. Let's start at the other end today. Four?
Well, we missed what little rain came yesterday. I saw some people got a little bit. We got a few drops, and all of them missed my rain gauge. That's about it. It's getting crispy out there, guys. Be careful. Be careful. We're like a powder keg ready to go off. One thing I don't think we mentioned in the official commissioner's court, but and he hadn't kicked me yet, so I want to acknowledge that Jonathan Letts is leading TWA for the next 2 years, and we have a lot of members in our county, and I think it's a feather in his cap, so congratulations.
And clarify, TWA is Texas Wildlife Association.
Exactly. Yeah, we got their start in late 80s, very small, bunch of unified ranchers wanting to work hand in hand with Texas Parks and Wildlife and other things and promote wildlife, and it's grown astronomically. So, all right.
A couple of comments. One, I rarely, these days anyway, comment on articles in the paper, but last evening Karen was reading the community journal, and she goes, "It says that you admonish the volunteer fire departments." And I don't know where that came from out of that article, or from listening to that tape, and usually that was very accurate. I did not admonish the volunteer fire departments. Someone on the court may have, but it wasn't me. I just want to clarify that. It was surprising. The other thing is, I keep hearing about, comparisons between this year's budget and last year's budget, and how our expenses are up and revenues are down and all this stuff. And I just want the public to understand that comparing this year's budget with last year's, or this year's with 2 years ago, it's not apples and oranges, it's apples and grapes. There's nothing comparison-wise, budget-wise. We got, 2 years ago, we got $10 million from the federal government ARPA. We're not getting that this year, so yes, our revenues are going to be down. We have a bond issue last year that the voters approved, so we're all of a sudden this year we're going to show a revenue of $6.5 million. Next year we're spending that money. So I mean, to try to compare this year's budget as a whole with last year's, the year before, or probably any year, it just makes 0 sense. And I wish people would quit making that comparison. Yes, we have a tough budget this year. We have a tough budget every year. And one of the things that, I haven't brought it up, but I think it's a concern and needs to be brought up at some point, is that bond issues failed last year, and we're doing very little to nothing to fix the problems that those bond issues brought. IT department, tax assessor's office. We do have a plan for Ingram Annex, but there's going to be some expenditures out there that haven't even been mentioned in the budget process. Different Youth Event Center. I mean, we've talked a little bit about some alternative ways to fund maybe some of that, but I think we're being negligent as a court to not at least address some of those things. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Attended yet another meeting with D. Guerrera, Tetra Tech, and of course Road and Bridge and Engineering, our Center Point Sewer project. They're continuing to work ahead, making progress, but painfully slow. So we're going to keep the pressure on them and hope to get that done quickly. On a happier note, on road reconstruction, Road and Bridge has done an excellent job. They've completed Skyline Drive, and I've heard nothing but compliments. Now the only complaint is that it's kind of a racetrack. We've got, because it's so much smoother and nicer. We've got too many people who are exceeding the speed limit out there, and that word with the sheriff, and he's going to have deputies out there. So beware, if you're one of those that are tempted to go a little faster on Skyline, you might pick up a citation. Okay, and they're going to start, well, they've already been progressing the reconstruction of Robertson Road. So they've already got one layer of chip seal down, and hopefully we'll get that finished up here in the next week or so. I had my first town hall meeting on the 18th at the Center Point School cafeteria. Pleased to say we had 107 people show up for that town hall, so that was really good. We covered a wide range of topics from eclipse preparation, planning and status, talked a little bit about the new Headwaters Groundwater Conservation District rules and the impact on development, a summary of the subdivision development projects, and I did talk about election integrity, which I think you all know that's my favorite topic. And I'm definitely pushing for some change there. What was interesting, out of the 107 people that attended, 50 people signed up to volunteer to hand count ballots. So those that say we can't get enough people to hand count ballots, well, this is a systemic thing. A lot of people don't trust our elections, and they are willing to step up. They're waking up. They're willing to step up and volunteer. We're starting to see a bit of civic pride. So I'm hoping that eventually, when it's all said and done, before this court has to make any decisions, we'll have 1,000 people sign up and volunteer to hand count. So that's kind of what that's going. I also talked about bond propositions, where we're at, what still needs to be done, and what doesn't need to be done at all. And there's a lot of that. Talked about the sewer project and gave some updates on county roads and TxDOT projects. So because of popular demand, I'm going to do it again on August 1st. And this time it'll be at the Hosanna Lutheran Church, so that other people might be able to hear the same message. And, well, obviously working hard on the August 22nd Election Integrity Town Hall. Got an all-star cast of knowledgeable people that can talk to us about election integrity. So that's lined up for August 22nd. That's it. Oh, and the burn ban is in place. Actually, it's not in place for everybody, so you should do that. But be careful out there. It's dry. We've already had a lot of brush
Warren. Concerning the press misquoting you or mischaracterizing you, welcome to my world. Number one. The other one is something that Jonathan said, and it's the bond issue and having to come up with money for some of the stuff that we need in the county. It's money out of taxpayers' pocket either way. It just looks different when you say it's in the budget. So it affects all of us, our pocketbooks, and we're going to have to, bite the bullet. I did get some of the rain they were talking about. It rained so hard at my house, I started getting a little bit excited, thinking we could take the burn ban off after just a couple of days. But we do have a burn ban in all 4 precincts now. what little bit of rain we had. Wish the rest of it gets some of it. So, that's it.
The only thing that I would add is, it's been in the newspapers, and some of what you read in the newspapers is true. It really is. Well, we have to laugh about it. But what I was going to say is that it's been in the newspapers that the county's been sued twice in the last month. Once was the Vigara problem that is in precinct 2. And our county attorney's office filed answers on behalf of the court. Each one was individually. All 5 of us got sued, even Richard wasn't a commissioner at the time. It's true. Sued all of us and the court. And kudos to our county attorney's office who represented us, filed a plea of jurisdiction. We have now been dismissed from that lawsuit. So that's good news. It was a frivolous lawsuit to begin with, but so what? We're out. And on the other one, we filed our answer this past week, and we're asking to try to get that case set for trial in March of next year. So we're progressing right along. That's where we are. So with that, we'll move on to the consideration agenda. And item 1.1 is an update on the animal control facility. Peter Lewis, our architect.
Morning, Commissioners, Judge. I'm going to hand
Props
these.
back up there.
I'm going to hand those out to you. I'm going to do the presentation in a little bit in reverse order, so don't share that with you. And distinguished citizens, thank you for being here. This is an update on the animal services facility. I'm going to give some context. So, location for those familiar or unfamiliar. This is the Spur 100 property that the county has acquired. This is Road and Bridge, and the Hill Country Youth Event Center is over here, and the Guadalupe River is a little bit further over there. So this is context. The animal services facility sits back up in the property. One of the things that we're doing, and our consulting team is doing, is looking at all the rainwater, the stormwater that comes through this property. It comes from a variety of directions and feeds right through here, goes under the highway and down to the river. And we have a stormwater hydrologist, a consultant on our team, who is assessing and trying to capture as much usable
Yeah.
property.
Probably should go to the podium because no one need to.
Okay.
Maybe start over.
So should I take this there?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, good. I got a little practice.
Stop, hold on.
He can stay there.
It can
It's
stay
seen
there.
on YouTube.
Oh,
Can they hear him?
Oh, he's right there, the big
Yeah,
mic.
he's fine.
Yeah, the microphone's right there behind you.
okay. Never mind.
You just get to see my back.
Well, that's all
That's
right.
okay.
You got my back?
Good side.
You
I
got
got
your
Just
your
scoot
back.
over closer to this microphone so you get picked up here.
You think I have a problem with that?
Get your back to it.
Can I?
That way.
I would.
All right, so I'm going to block the judge and commissioners. At any rate, quite a bit of water comes through here in stormwater events, and obviously that's not a concern these days, but it will be again, as we know, or we hope and we pray. So the building sits back up on the property. This is the veterans housing over here, and we have one lane coming in and out off of Spur 100, and then we have a pedestrian accessible route out to TxDOT out to Highway 27. Then the building itself, it has changed in configuration since the bond issue, but it has all the ingredients. We've had a lot of good input from county staff, from Reagan and from Commissioner Letts. Our good friends at Kerr Pets Alive have a very thoughtful memorandum that helped us understand the county needs. What we've done is we've separated this into into animals and people. We've got animals, all the dogs over here, and all the people and cats, which think they're people, over here. So the main entry is, well, the main entry, you as you come up the roadway onto the site, you'll view the entrance to the facility. There's a lobby and a reception area, and on this side we've got animal control, a meeting room, community room, animal adoption, and then all the cats back here, a sally port for dropping cats off in vehicles is the drive-through. And then on this side of the equation are all the kennels. We've got, and basically we've got 14 kennels in the adoption area. And the adoption area, it can be expanded during a an event that would require more animal and influx, say if there were a hurricane down on the coast or another kind of event that would cause the county to take on more animals for a period of time, these can be doubled to 28, 19, and 38. We have an isolation area here that has 12, and then a quarantine area which is separated from the rest of the facility. We have a future vet clinic here. It is unfinished. Well, I say it's unfinished. It will not have all the equipment that it needs, but it will be a finished space. And then a sally port for drop off of dogs, euthanasia, and a cage storage for all the cages that are in here to either add to or take away from. I guess the final thing here is this is about 13,500 square feet of conditioned space, what that's worth. And then the image that we've developed, this is going to be, for those in the know, a pre-engineered metal building, which is a prefabricated building that's brought onto the site. This back part, we've given it an elevated section down the middle to bring light in. These are translucent panels all along here to bring light in. The space itself will be heated and conditioned, and mechanically conditioned. We'll have some large fans in there that will circulate. Some of the spaces in the building will be air conditioned. The vet area, the intake evaluation will be air conditioned. Main entrance to the building here, you can see there's a cat play area in here that you'll see as you come up. See the humans playing with the cats, and then over here is all the animal services. In this building, we've got the structure is inside the building, and it is represented or reflected in these panels on the outside. This is all metal siding, metal roof, and then on this side, the structure on the outside, so that it doesn't impede. It allows a flexible space for the offices and the meeting rooms inside the building. That's what I got. Any questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Just to go over again to emphasize it, the holdup on a final budget estimate is the drainage.
Right.
So when, do you have any idea when that will come through?
I do, and there are a couple of things that have happened I didn't mention, but the drainage, we hope to have all of that for a September. We'll have all the budget ready to present to Commissioners Court in September. We will have developed these drawings even further. And we also had an antiquity study, an archaeological and antiquity study. We have not seen the results of that yet, but that was to determine if there were any archaeological things of significance on the site. Any publicly owned property requires that to be developed. And then there was exploration around the cemeteries there to see if there was anything that was on the wrong side of the fence of the cemeteries.
Okay.
We're good?
Any questions, comments, observations?
Looks good.
Yeah.
We're on the road.
Just hope you're gonna keep it within the budget.
It will be. It will be.
Any input?
Not yet.
Okay. Item 1.2, consider discuss take appropriate action regarding a resolution approving participation in the airport planning study. Floor.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm here to discuss a resolution here that we'd like you to review and approve today about our airport planning study, which we've been working with TxDOT Aviation now for a couple years. This is the grant document that's associated with the airport planning study. It is a pretty large investment by TxDOT. They're investing about $225,000 of planning studies work for our airport, and the city and the county will jointly share in the 10% remainder, which is about $12,500 each. This is in this year fiscal 2023 budget. It has already been funded from this year, so no new money is needed for this. The resolution is basically what we have within our interlocal agreement is that the airport needs to gain written consent from the city and the county for any grants. And then also, we need to get your buy-in because this is for professional services, which is more than $75,000. So looking forward to getting this moved forward. I know we've been talking about it for a couple of years, so this will help us greatly in our future planning at the airport, and look forward to getting that started. Be glad to answer any questions.
Just a couple of things, this is more for the public, Mary.
Yeah.
These planning grants are required by TxDOT, correct, or by the feds?
Yes, yes. About every 10 years, they request that you go through and update all your planning studies that you do here at the airport to make sure they're all in compliance with what our needs are at the airport.
Make motion to move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution for the airport planning study?
And it's authorized the county judge to sign.
Correct. But just to clarify, this is an FAA requirement and so that's a federal requirement, that TxDOT is funding 90% of the cost of this. It's already been in previous budgets. There's no new money coming this year, but it's something we have to do.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Anything else? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is 1.3. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the nomination committee selection of a county employee to participate in Kerr County Leadership Class 2023-24 and submit the application to the Kerrville Chamber of Commerce. Ms. Sullivan.
Good morning. The nominating committee met last week, went over the applications, and we have chosen Hunter Moose, Assistant County Attorney, at your approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve Hunter Moose as our applicant for the Kerr County Leadership Class this coming year. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1.4, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the Environmental Health Department to move to 550 Earl Garrett Street and County Treasurer to move to the current Environmental Health Office. Commissioner Letts.
Yes, we've talked about this quite a few times. Last week, Commissioner Harris and I went over there along with maintenance to look at the building and figure things out a little bit. And I've met previously with John Bull and Ms. Tableau over there to look at availability. And they can, at the present time, vacate half of the first floor and they'll maintain this other half and then the second floor. That is still in flex a little bit there. I mean, that part is done. They're still trying to get, and they have found property in Bernie to move additional staff down to Bernie, but that's either here or there on this agenda item. There's a drawing that everybody has. The outlined area would be the new environmental health offices. So we just need to, there's a couple of other agenda items related to costs and doing some things at the building, but I just think we need the court needs to authorize, this item is just to authorize the move of those two offices to the respective office space. I'll make such a motion to authorize the move.
This is lower level?
Lower level.
Actually, have you seen
Got a
this?
motion and a second. And from all of my discussions with Richard Elkins and Bernie, it looks like we're probably going to get the rest of the first floor sometime maybe this fall. Right. So we'll have more room for expansion. Any other discussion?
Just, you know, as liaison for the environmental group, I'll work with Ashley tomorrow, and they're very cooperative, and appreciate their willingness to move. And I think it's still a good overall solution to the problem that then gives Treasury access to the bigger space that they need. So then the only question is, what are we going to do at the Treasury office? And I hear people already putting dibs in on it, so that'll be an interesting discussion.
We have a few people involved that don't want to. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay. Next item is 1.5. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize maintenance to make minor improvements to 550 Earl Garrett Street to accommodate the Environmental Health Department. Mr. Lance.
And this is really the drawing that I handed out. there are 2 doors that are needed to kind of isolate, and these are really things, in my opinion, that are going to be needed, whether whoever operates the other part of the building, to kind of separate offices a little bit. So the 2 new doors need to go in and change across the stairway at the bottom to keep people going upstairs. Hopefully that will deter people, and then they'll change the back hallway past environmental health offices. Maintenance is already working on this.
Doors already in place.
The doors, yeah, they kind of
Better get it approved.
Well, I kind of said, I told maintenance that, I said, we really need this done by August 1st, and they got on it, and I think it's pretty minor improvements, and the maintenance did.
Well, I hope we don't vote against it.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to authorize the addition of 2 doors and a couple of chains across hallways at 550 Earl Garrett.
And we were gonna put a window in there that.
Right.
Yeah, so, that first place, doesn't have a sliding window to speak through and what have you.
Right.
That'll help in.
But maintenance will do that at some point.
Okay.
So,
We have a motion and a second.
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 1.6, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize expenditure of funds to move environmental health department and county treasurer's offices. Mr. Lex.
I might need a little bit of help on Ashley on this one, but Ashley, I know, went out and found got an estimate to move offices. It was in the neighborhood of $1,000 for her to move or for a moving company to move her offices over to 550 Earl Garrett, maybe a little bit less. They also have to move copy machines, and under those license agreements, they have to come and move them.
Well, that's the next item.
Well, yeah, they're kind of the same thing.
I know.
But anyway, I believe Tracy's talking to some movie companies. I don't know if she has estimates yet.
The estimate I had received was right about $800.
$800.
Yes.
Mine is $350.
How much?
$350.
$350. So about $1,150 to $1,200 to have a moving company. To me, it makes a lot more sense. I know maintenance may be able to do this, but they have a lot of other projects that need to be doing, and I think it's well worth to have it done as quickly as possible, so the offices are ready. The other thing on it is the timing of the move. You getting ready, Ashley?
Yes, so I contacted the movers and their next available date was August 15th, which is a Monday. So that's what I went ahead and agreed with, is to get with them. We had contacted 4 different movers, and only one provided me a quote. The other 3 I never heard from. So I'm just going with the one that provided me a quote. And so their date is August 15th. So I went ahead. I'm sorry?
Tuesday.
Well, then maybe it's the 14th. Sorry. Wait, I have it right here. Let me just look.
So, Tracy, how does that work with
August
your,
15th is Tuesday. It is, yeah, 15th.
with your schedule? Does that work?
Well, if she can't get moved before then,
Gonna have to.
yeah.
I think so.
For next.
Right around the corner at this stage.
So, I guess I'll make a motion that we authorize, are we pretty certain, up to $1,500?
I'm just gonna ask IT, I mean, where's that included? It's gonna probably cost us a little bit to get IT set up, Bruce, or?
I have an estimated cost for Xerox too, and that's $611 for that. Yeah.
You said no.
Yeah, I would.
So up to $1,800 or, let's say $2,000.
Well, but we have to
Yeah.
move the other machine from Tracy's office
Tracy
too,
got the
probably.
same thing probably.
IT can do that.
The copy machines won't, the companies won't
Well,
allow.
they have to.
Yeah,
You
and they have to
violate
charge you, I
warranty.
guess, too.
So what are we talking, how much money are we talking?
Not to exceed 2,000.
2,000.
Bruce, any comments from your side?
It's
or-
mostly already wired, we just have to go redirect a few things.
I just wanna be sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So a motion would be to authorize up to $2,000 for the move, and the funds to come out of business.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second to authorize the moving environmental health over to 550 Earl Garrett for funds not to exceed $2,000.
And the treasurer to,
And the treasurer into the environmental office.
The only thing in government that moves that fast is increasing costs. Nothing else in government ever moves that fast.
Well, and especially with this 100-degree heat, I just soon hire the movers to do this. We don't, our maintenance department is stretched right now.
So without doubt.
So any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 1.7, consider discuss and take appropriate action to approve the equipment move and relocation to move environmental health. Well, we have to hold the agenda item, we have to have a motion in a second. So. But this is to move the equipment.
Yes, sir.
I move for approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second to move environmental's equipment as well as the treasurer's equipment, right?
I don't have an agreement, and I'm not on that agenda.
Okay, so that's just environmental.
1.7 is agreement with Xerox to move the equipment.
Okay.
For environmental
For
health.
environmental.
For environmental, yes.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 1.8. Consider discuss and take appropriate action to approve a $100 donation from the citizen for the Sheriff's Equipment Fund. Captain Walter.
Yeah, and it's just that, you know, we get donations from the public, and this is a $100 donation we'd like to get approved and put into our equipment fund.
I move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve accepting the donation to the Sheriff's Equipment Fund. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 1.9, consider discuss and take appropriate action to surplus a 2015 Chevrolet Tahoe, VIN number 1GNLC EC4FR 672318 with 130997 miles. A 2015 Chevrolet Tahoe VIN number 1GNLC 2EC2FR 674469 with 136762 miles and a bad transmission. And a 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe VIN number 1GNLCDEC 9JR 233880 with 7403 miles and a bad transmission. Be sold by Enterprise Fleet.
Can you repeat that? Move for approval.
Got a motion and second to approve the surplusing of these vehicles.
Who made the second?
No, I didn't. Jason, just, can you comment on that 2018? Why did that, you know, we're not...
It's just,
It's
it's got a bad transmission. It's not cost effective for us to replace that transmission and keep it running. You know, we had vehicles coming up for replacement with Enterprise anyway, and these are the three vehicles that we identified that need to be replaced under the Enterprise agreement. So it's a continuation of keeping a proper fleet. So.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 1.10, consider discuss take appropriate action for county feral hog grant.
Good morning. I would like to go ahead and submit another, last year we attempted the county abatement feral hog grant last year. Never really heard back from them, so I don't know exactly what happened or where that stands. It's not a large grant. It will not take much of my time, but it is something I find very interesting and I think would be very beneficial for the county if we're able to get some assistance. So I'm just asking for your permission to go ahead and try again this year.
I move for approval. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the county feral hog grant. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 1.11, consider discuss and take appropriate action to approve the initial application budget request for Operation Lone Star FY 2024 grant through the Office of the Governor, amount not to exceed $1,765,910. Captain Walter.
This is similar to what we did last year. This is kind of our initial budget request. It is by no means the awarded amount. We had a similar budget last year. They cut all the vehicles and stuff out of it, and it reduced it down to $660,000 last year. So this is just our initial budget request. Within this, there's some things, more specialized equipment that we're going after, so we don't have to request it within a budget. So it's just a matter of the governor's office approving what they want to approve when this goes in. So it's just initial. Like I said, it most likely will get cut way back. Hopefully not too far back, but that's just what it is.
Move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve applying for the Operation Lone Star grant for next year.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's get down on the agenda. We're going faster than usual today. The next untimed item is 1.21, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the 2024 Kerr Central Appraisal District budget. That's under tab 21. And this is perfunctory. We get it every year. FYI, it's up about 4.5% from previous years. So I'll move that we approve the KCAD budget as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the Kerr Central Appraisal District budget. Any discussion?
I don't have my budget with me. Can you tell me how much the amount is? You've got your
Here,
numbers?
just pass this down.
Was it attached to your sheet? That's got to put it over once, right?
Kerr County, this is $292,827.06. Their total budget is $1,239,870, and ours is $292,027.
Thank you.
Jonathan, we're also responsible for the lateral roads that is right underneath that,
Right.
and we're responsible for the Lake Ingram.
The lateral road is 19,902.79, and the Lake Ingram is $271.08.
Any discussion? Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 1.22, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set the sheriff's salary at a level which is $5,000 more than that of the highest paid employee of Kerr County Sheriff's Office. With all the incentives and pay increases that we put into the budget, our sheriff would no longer be the highest paid employee in the sheriff's office. We have a policy that the sheriff is to be paid at least $5,000 more than the highest paid employee. And so I didn't ask the sheriff to come present this. I'm presenting it because it's something that we just have to do.
If it's the policy, do we have to, why do
We
we have
do.
to do anything?
We do it every budget. It's for the
Annual renewal.
right. Last time we did it was for wrestling play.
I remember the first time we did
Yeah.
that was contentious.
But this is what it is, and we don't have a choice.
We have a choice, but I agree that we should do it.
Yes.
Right.
And I guess the only question is, do the funds come from SB 22 or just out of the regular general?
Well, the SB 22 funds are going into our general fund, so that's
So either way, it doesn't matter, I guess. All right.
the taxpayers pay for it.
At least the taxpayers should know that we're getting a break
Right.
of $500,000 from the state government.
Right.
So I'll make a
That does
motion.
help.
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve adjusting the sheriff's salary in accordance with our policy as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 1.23. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to surplus a desk from the Kerr County Historical Commission's office per maintenance department. Ms. Shelton.
Yes. There's a desk that was located in the Historical Commission's office, and maintenance has requested that it be surplused.
Move for approval.
For sure it's not historic?
I'm sorry?
Nothing. Second.
Who made the second?
Got a motion and a second to approve surplusing the desk from the Historical Commission's office. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1.24, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to surplus items from the IT department. Michelle?
Yes, you have a list of items that IT has requested to be surplus.
Move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve surplusing the items from the IT department as presented by them. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Didn't think we'd get to you before the vote, did you, Ms. Snyder? Item 1.25, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve and adopt the fee schedule of the Kerr County Clerk's Office as presented for fiscal year 2023-2024, which are no changes this year, right?
Correct.
I move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the fee schedule for the clerk's office. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1.26, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the county clerk's archive plan and authorize the county judge to sign the agreement with Scott Merriman Lee. Ms. Dowdy.
So the plan is to preserve 22 books. It's kind of a handful, including elections and I think Commissioners Court minutes. There is a list there. The county attorney reviewed it and has made no suggestions to any revisions.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second to approve the county clerk's archive plan as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And 1.27, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to surplus and dispose of the refrigerator in the break room between the county clerk's office and the tax office. Ms. Dowdy.
We have a refrigerator that is probably historic. It continues to need repair, and so we are requesting the removal of it.
I move for approval. Second.
We've got a motion and a second to remove the refrigerator, the historic refrigerator.
Are you getting a replacement?
We have yet to discuss the replacement. We have some ideas of a donated one.
Very well. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. With that, we will take our morning break and we will reconvene at 10 o'clock for the 10th time items. Items, the first one is item 1.12, which is a presentation of the 2022 annual report for the Texas Department of State Health Services, DSHS, or what we call DISHES, Region 8, Kerr County. This is Naylat DiPiazza.
Good
I don't think
morning.
we've seen y'all since COVID.
Well, yeah, true. And then I think last year we came to do the 2021 report, but that was the last time I think y'all saw us in person. Good morning, everyone. My name is Naylat DiPiazza. I am the public health nurse with the Department of State Health Services. Our office is here, our local office is here in Kerrville, and we cover Kerr and Gillespie County. And with me today is Norma Cardano Price, who is our community health specialist, and Brenda Holteen, who's our LVN and public health prevention specialist. So we have two nurses in our Kerrville office. And again, I apologize, I've been battling a cold the last week, so my throat, my voice is kind of in and out. Our office, as you know, handles health and community education. We do our immunizations here for eligible children and adults, STD testing, and of course, COVID-19 vaccinations. We do communicable disease investigations, tuberculosis treatment, and the contact identification. For STD testing, we do the testing, the treatment, and referral. And then, of course, our emergency preparedness and response, but that's mostly out of the regional office in San Antonio. I handed out the booklet with our annual report for our region, for Region 8. So this is for the region, but attached to that booklet is the Kerr County report for Kerr County specifically. And down at the bottom is mostly our initiatives that we work on in our office here in Kerrville. For the most part, of course, other than the immunizations and the STD testing, we do serve on the school health advisory councils for Kerrville, Centerpoint, and Ingram. We educate the community about human trafficking, infant safe sleep, sudden infant death, shaken baby syndrome, breastfeeding education, child and adolescent injury prevention, and then of course the hand washing, sanitation, hygiene, and any prevention of communicable diseases. Part of our initiative for Kerr County is, well, a big initiative for Kerr County is the adolescent child injury prevention. So with that, we have the River Hills Child Fatality Review Team that we started a couple of years ago. I think we're going into year 2 now. And that is a collaboration of the Kerr County Sheriff's Department, Kerrville PD, the hospital, MHGD, Hill Country, the Crisis Center, the schools with Kerr County, and we also have Gillespie, Bandera, and Kendall grouped together. So what we work on, we look at every child death below the age of 18 in Kerr County, and we look at and see, was this death preventable? And if so, was there something different that we could have done? Education, resources, anything like that. Sadly, something that we're seeing a little bit more of is teen suicides. That number's on the rise. So we're looking at gun safety education for parents, for teens, for children, and of course mental health. What can we do? Where can we assist? And then also just overall safety of our kiddos. Something else that we do in our office, both myself and Norma are child passenger safety technicians, and Norma's an instructor. So we can install, inspect, we distribute car seats and provide education to parents. So we know seatbelts save lives, car seats save children's lives. So we want to make sure we keep our kiddos in Kerr County safe. And that's mostly what I've been working on and what we've been working on in our office. And Norma wanted to talk to you a little bit about the child passenger safety and what we're doing with that and the collaborations that we're doing in our community.
Hi, my name is Norma Cardona Price, and one of the big community partnerships we have going on right now is with the Kerrville Fire Department. Chief Maloney is on board to working with child safety prevention. And one of the big things was he did get 6 of his EMTs certified as child passenger safety technicians. So we've continued this partnership with holding a car seat checkup event in the community quarterly. So far, we've had, our first one was at the Kerr Sports Complex soccer fields. The second one, we held one at the Louise Hayes Park Pavilion. Our next one is during National Child Passenger Safety Week. We've scheduled it for September the 21st, and we're going to be utilizing the City Hall parking lot for that one. And then we'll have another one after that for the fourth quarter. So this is a partnership that we want to continue growing, not only with the fire department. We do encourage Kerr County Sheriff's Department and also the Kerrville Police Department to get more certified technicians on board so that we can work together as a community to bring out child safety and injury prevention, utilizing the car seats. As an instructor, I'm able to assist in helping them maintain their certification because it does require an ongoing recertification every 2 years, and that's doing the child seat checks and attending events and doing CEUs. So that's one of the big things that we've always missed out, was having somebody to help us recertify. So I'm here in the community and I can help with the recertification process. We were able to get Texas AgriLife to come out and do the big teaching to get the firefighters certified. So we can also help bring other teams to come in and do the actual certification. It's usually either is going to be a 3-day or a 4-day class. So we're always looking for more community partners in that sense. We're also working with the fire department with the heat stroke awareness campaign. We do it annually. Usually try to schedule it in June or July. We bring out the temperature display. We schedule it at different locations around the city. This year we were able to host it at the Broadway Bank. We did one day at the Pet Supply Store, Tractor Supply. We did it at the Louise Hayes Park and with Chick-fil-A as well. And again, we use fire department vehicles. We used the Kerrville PD vehicle, and we were able to get that message across to the city. So that's something that we plan every year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is 1.13. It's a public hearing for revision of plat on Lake Ingram Estates, Section 2, Block 66 and 67. Charlie Hastings.
Sir, Judge, this is the public hearing.
What's your public hearing?
Yes, sir.
So we're convening public hearing. Is anyone here that wants to, yes, sir? You would go to-
Let's go back.
Identify yourself by name and where you live.
Okay. My name is Daniel Edelstein. I live at 204 Oakview Drive, in Kerrville. I was the one I was purchasing this property on John Bevan, and doing the replat. But first of all, I wanted to just thank Charlie and Bobby for just all their help trying to get us, or helping us to get this moving forward in a expedient process. So I just want to thank them for all they did to help us with this. However, we did have some issues. Really, there was, right before we closed a month or so ago, or we were going to close a month or so ago, we had a deed that was filed the day before closing, which the seller told me it's a fraudulent deed. So we've been trying to rectify that and get that cleared up, but we have not successfully been able to do that. So that's, the main reason why we can't do this is the deadline that Headwaters has on us with the 10-acre minimum and all that. So we went ahead and terminated our contract because we're not going to be able to get this done in time to make that deadline. So, but y'all need to ask me any questions or anything, or that's really all I really had to say. So
refresh my recollection as to what the situation is.
So we had an executor of an estate that we were purchasing from. Day before closing, we found out there was a deed filed from somebody who was a notary for the estate. So we're been trying to get it cleared up where they, instead of going to court and getting all cleared up, we've been trying to have them just deed back the property and not go to court, and we close it and all that kind of stuff. So we drew up paperwork to do all that. However, they are not signing anything to deed it back to the executor of the estate. So
I think what the 10,000 foot view is that they've got two lots. They're both about 15 acres. They want to make one of them 25 and the other one 5. And that is problematic if it doesn't get approved today because on August the 10th, Headwaters has a new rule that says you have to have 10 acres if you want to drill a well. They were rushing to get this done by today. Everything was ready to go. They got to closing and they had this title issue crop up. And so they, unfortunately, we can still have this public hearing, but we won't be able to take action today.
And this was the last day before?
This is the last day. Unfortunately, state law says revision of plats have to be they have to be voted on and considered on a regular scheduled meeting. Our next regular scheduled meeting is August the 14th. So if they can get it cleared between now and August 14th, that's 4 days after August the 10th. That's what he's trying to let you know.
Thank you. We'll try.
Yes, ma'am.
To muddy the waters, technically, every Monday is a regular meeting now. That's what we did at the end of the budget year. Now our schedule is Tuesday, or the second and fourth Monday, but as of it was approved at the last budget.
I don't think the public can hear what you said, so let me just
sorry.
kind of recap. You're reminding us that we have adopted every Monday as a regular Commissioners Court meeting, but we only post the second and the fourth is what we've been doing. It's our practice, our custom usage here. But if we had to, we could post for any given Monday.
Yes, sir.
So if that helps, that's what we got.
Okay. Okay.
And that information comes from our court coordinator, so it is authentic.
So Mr. Edelstein, if you get this cleared up in the next week or so, it sounds like there's potential to put it on an agenda before August the 10th.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
County Attorney, is there a possibility that we could approve this pending?
It's not on the agenda to take action on today. It's just the public hearing.
Well, the next one.
It's not.
Oh, it's not, okay. All right.
And Commissioner, we didn't put it on the
Okay.
agenda because they couldn't bring us the plats with signatures on it because they didn't own
I
it.
didn't look at the next one, I thought we.
Yes, sir.
And so all we're really telling you is we'll accommodate if you have the opportunity to get it done.
Okay. Thank
If
you.
we can help you, we will.
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so that's the end of the public meeting. I'm going to adjourn that. We'll move on to the next item, which is item 1.14. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to set a public hearing at 10 a.m. on August the 28th, 2023, for a revision of plat for Theodore and Dorothea Ayler Estate Subdivision, Track 6. Charlie Hastings.
Thank you, Judge. This proposal revises Tract 6, 57.68 acres, as platted into 4 lots. Each proposed tract will be over 10 acres, with frontage on FM 479. Access and driveways must be permitted through TxDOT. County engineer requests the court set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on August 28, 2023, for a revision of plat for Theodore and Dorothy Ayler Estate, Subdivision Tract 6, Volume 4, page 27, Precinct 4.
I move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve for a revision of plat for Theodore and Dorothy Ayler Estate Subdivision Tract 6. Any other discussion?
This is to set a public hearing. Set a public hearing.
Set a public hearing? Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next item is a public hearing, item 1.15, public hearing regarding the setting the speed limit on Thrill Hill Drive, west. Ms. Hoffman.
Public hearing.
Public hearing? Y'all don't know where Thrill Hill is, go out 479. So, there being no input from anybody, and we'll go ahead and adjourn that public hearing and move on to item 1.16, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the Commissioners Court final approval regarding setting the speed limit on Thrill Hill Drive West at 35 miles an hour. Ms. Hoffman.
Mr. Garvin made a request to set a speed limit on Thrill Hill Drive West. The county engineer and I have driven this area multiple times and feel the speed limit should be set at 35 miles an hour. When you cross onto Gillespie County, the speed limit is posted near the change of counties at 35 miles an hour. We also ran a traffic study for this location and have included the study in the backup data. At this time, I ask the Commissioners Court for their final approval regarding setting the speed limit at 35 miles an hour on Thrill Hill Drive West in Precinct 4.
I move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve changing the speed limit on Thrill Hill to 35 miles an hour. Any discussion?
The alternative was to seed it.
Well, I was wondering if we had to do a name change on the road as well.
Yeah.
How many signs is this gonna be?
This actually is not a change. It was not posted on the Kerr County side.
So this
So
is
it,
an initial post.
yes.
So,
How
what
many?
happened up here, we're gonna have to change the name of the street. We don't know. 35 miles an hour. Anyway.
So there's no sign?
No, we have a lot of roads that do not have posted speed limit.
How are they gonna know?
There is a
Statutory.
default.
Assumption.
What?
What's that?
Statutory speed limits.
I get
Throughout
that,
the
but
state
how
of
are they gonna
Texas.
know that it's different there? Or has it never had a speed limit?
This one's never had.
Yeah, there's
See,
never been a sign.
I've never seen any kind of signage on Thrill Hill about.
Until you
how
get to
fast
Gillespie
you go.
County.
And what
I
is it,
think we just
55?
cede it to Gillespie.
The statutory?
60.
Is it
Not
60?
worried about it.
Yeah, it's 60.
So no
60 if it's
sign
not
then.
posted. If it's not posted, it's 60 unless you're in a residential area, and then it's 30.
30.
So you're going to 35, so you need a sign.
We're
We
not
need-
going,
That's what we're doing.
we're
We need
posting
some-
35.
I asked how many signs are gonna be up, she says you don't need a sign.
No,
No.
one.
Just one sign.
One sign.
Yeah.
We're gonna put one.
I thought you said none.
Oh, no.
Okay, one sign. That makes sense.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now I call a public meeting, this is 1.17, this is the public hearing regarding the installation of the no parking signs on the Bear Creek Bridge, there in precinct 1 and 4.
Judge, I have an email from somebody who wants, couldn't be here, but they want their input heard. This is from Paula Slutz, resident at 988 Bear Creek Road in Precinct 1. I should give this to the radio voice, but I got it. I would like to voice my wholehearted support for the county's proposal to install no parking signs as outlined by Road Administrator Kelly Hoffer in her presentation to Commissioners Court on June 12, 2023, agenda item 1.22. As a resident of Bear Creek Road, I traverse the bridge, the low water crossing, several times a day. Vehicles parked along the road where it leaves the bridge and curves sharply to the right over another one-lane bridge. It blocks the view of oncoming vehicles and poses a hazard to both drivers and pedestrians. Establishing and enforcing a no parking regime will go a long way to preventing accidents involving both drivers and pedestrians. I thank the court for its attention to this issue.
Anyone else want to speak on the public meeting part of this? Okay, and I'll adjourn the meeting, and we'll move on to item 1.18, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the Commissioners Court final approval regarding the installation of no parking signs near Bear Creek Bridge, precinct 1 and 4. Ms. Hoffman.
Ms. Pamela Slutz made a request on May 11th, 2023 to the Kerr County Road and Bridge Office about the installation of no parking signs near the Bear Creek Bridge. And she also made a request to rope off the area to obstruct these vehicles, which we will not be roping that area off. We had a meeting on site on Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. Representatives were from Kerr County Road and Bridge, Kerr County Engineering, Kerr County Sheriff's Office, Precinct 4 Commissioner, and the City of Kerrville. we have decided on an area that there will be no parking, and it is inside the curve on the Kerr County side of the bridge. We don't recommend roping off any of the areas. The representative from the city of Kerrville said they already have, it's about a 1 to 2 car place that cars can pull off and not be on the road on the city side. Kerr County decided on the area marked in the attached data. At this time, I ask the Commissioners Court for their final approval regarding the installation of 2 no parking signs within the inside curve near the bridge on the Kerr County side, and this is precinct 1 and 4. It will help with the visibility of what is up there on the bridge before you get into that curve, is what that will help. Because if cars are parked there, if you're coming from the Kerr County side, you can't see the bridge until you're like right there, so.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve posting the no parking signs on Bear Creek Bridge. Any discussion?
Yes, I've been out there when cars have parked where we're talking about, and cars coming from either direction, either from the low water crossing or from further up Bear Creek, they can't see one another. They're inching around trying to see if somebody else is coming, and it's a blind spot, and oh, this is no brainer.
Yes.
That bridge is problematic, period.
Sure.
Yeah. We can put no parking signs up all day long, it's going to be a problem.
Yes.
But it's measured.
Right.
Now, just for clarification, is the part that's Kerr County precinct 1?
One side of the road is precinct 4 and the other side of the road is precinct 1.
Well,
One
I
and
think the
4.
Arcadia Loop side is 4.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the other
Yes.
side of Guadalupe is 1. So that's really on the.
I think the road is in 1 and everything up the side of the road is 4. So,
Yes, I believe you're right.
I love our low water crossings, but they are problematic.
Yes.
Sure.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 1.19, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to go out for annual bids for delivered fuel. Ms. Hoffman.
We are asking the court to give authorization for us to go out for delivered fuel bids. Once we put out the bids, we'll come back to the court to open the bids on September 11th, 2023 at 10 a.m. and also award the bids in court at that time. And I just want to put on the record, because there's been confusion from people who bid on any of the stuff that we bid. We've had people try to drop those off at the Road and Bridge office, so they go to the county clerk's office. We are not to get those sealed bids.
Correct.
So,
Move for approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve going out for annual bids for the delivered fuel road and bridge, which will be delivered to the county clerk's office.
yes.
Any discussion?
Who is publishing the bid?
Who's,
Is your department publishing it?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, for the ads. Yes, in the Hill Country Community Journal. As soon as I get done here, if it's approved, we're going to let them know they can run it. It's ready to go.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last item on the consideration agenda is 1.20. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a service agreement with Service Uniform. This agreement will go into effect October 2, 2022 for fiscal year 23-24. Ms. Hoffman.
This agreement is for uniform service for Kerr County Road and Bridge employees. Monies for this agreement have been requested in line item 15612-316 for the fiscal year 23-24 budget. The county attorney has reviewed this agreement. She did have a few changes that were made. So at this time, I ask the Commissioners Court for their approval of the service agreement with Service Uniform, and thank you for your consideration. And to have the judge sign off on the contract.
Move for approval and authorize the judge to sign.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the contract and have them sign it. We need to have a discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we have one item on the executive session.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So we will take a brief break. Let's reconvene here for. Oh, yeah, approval of agenda. 2.1, budget amendment for Shelton.
Yes, we have 16 budget amendments. These are line item transfers. We have 4 requests to use the contingency funds, which add up to 100,000 basically. There's an increase in the pauper burials. Property insurance increased this last time and we didn't have enough in there to cover it. That's about 27,000. You had some major repairs at the jail and they've transferred money around to try to cover that. And that's about 7,100. There's also, oh, you know what? The repairs are at the jail, but it's also repairs at other buildings in the county. This is not a request from the sheriff's office or the jail. These are maintenance items.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved. Item 2.2, pay bills.
Yes, today's invoices, $1,567,372.41.
Move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve paying bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2.3, late bills.
Yes, there are not any.
2.4, auditors reports.
Yes, we're asking that you accept internal audit reports for the district clerk, justice of the peace precincts 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the auditor's reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Item 2.5, accept monthly report.
Yes. For June 2023, Animal Control Services, Director Reagan Gibbons, County Clerk, as amended, Jackie Dowdy, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Missy French, Precinct 4, Bill Ragsdale. I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. 2.6, court orders.
We have the court orders 40082 through 40095 from our regular meeting on July 10th. They all look to be in order. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the court orders as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Information agenda 3.1, status reports from department heads. Okay, there being none, we'll move on to 3.2, status reports from elected officials. Ms. Lance.
Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. I just wanted to reiterate on our audit report. If you noticed, our collections went up drastically. They even questioned us why we were collecting so much money. So I wanted to stand up here and applaud my staff for what a great job they're doing. And I hope they continue to do it. But again, I wanted to applaud them for the hard work that they're doing for this county.
Thank you. And for the record, you got the audit, you came and talked to me, and I applauded you. And I pass some of those compliments to your staff. Doing a good job. Okay. Any other elected officials? Okay, 3.3, status reports from liaison commissioners. Any reports?
Shane told me this morning that they did some restriping over the weekend, of course, but they didn't get completed, so they might have to come back next Saturday and complete the job.
Looks good.
Anything else? Okay. So before we go into executive session, let's adjourn and we'll reconvene again here within 5 minutes. We have one quick item that we need to discuss, which is an executive session on opioids. 42, we're coming out of executive session. Number 5.1, which is action is may be required on matters discussed in executive session. And 5.1A is consideration of authorizing the county judge or other authorized officials to execute settlement participation in release forms regarding settlement offers from Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart in the matter of the Texas opioid multi-district litigation for the county in the matter of Kerr County versus Purdue Pharma. So I'm going to make a motion that we go ahead and approve accepting the settlement as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Other than we can keep this thing over with? Okay. With that, those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.